A very good evening. Thanks for clicking on to the Sunday edition of Vogan's European Outlook. I have started the process of writing my 2022-2023 winter forecast, and it is starting to get pretty exciting stuff, I must say. Looking into great detail at the current sea surface temperature profile versus the past, trying to match up the 3 year La Nina. Now, that has happened a couple of times in the last 100 years. Very rare event, of course. Trying to match up like kind of multi-year La Nina events versus the current solar cycle in the state that we're at, which is very comparable to 2011. Trying to also look at southern stratospheric warmings of the past, and really they have been very frequent actually in recent times. So I'm trying to match up, the multi-year La Nina, this similar sea surface temperature profile, similar solar state. Also looking at the QBO, which is going to be westerly, the type of summer that we've just seen, the autumn that we're, currently in and about to end. Of course, it's been a very mild and it's been a very wet autumn. And, even, autumns of the past, what kind of situation we may be finding ourselves facing. Now, the one common denominator here, folks, is that we do have similarities in the past, but what is becoming harder to match up is the sea surface temperature profile. Now, we are starting to see changes with the season changing. Temperatures are starting to come down across the northern hemisphere, particularly so in North America and parts of Asia, even parts of Eastern and Central Europe. Now we're under a much colder situation compared to what we found ourselves in just a couple of weeks ago. Big changes, and I think that is strictly down to the Madden-Julian oscillation and also the tropical setup as well, that we've seen transfer of heat from the tropics up towards the pole, leading to increased blocking. But this is the month of November across the United States. Here we are starting to bring that temperature down closer to average, even below average now, compared to what we've seen. The front running 2 weeks of November was very warm, and now we're starting to see it flipping around with the current pattern that we've got. So we're starting to see temperatures coming down, the anomaly at least, especially over the eastern half of the United States versus what we've seen so far this month. We're not going to wipe out the warmth in up the eastern side of the country, I don't think, anyway. Very cold in November, of course, across the western half of the United States, as you can see here. Europe, we're not going to turn around the deficit whatsoever because it has been an incredibly warm November so far. We are seeing the temperatures coming down, but it's just been simply far too warm during that first, 15, 16 days of the month. It's just been incredibly mild, and therefore even it would take a major cold spell for the last 10 days of the month to flip it around, and we're not going to see that happening. But certainly it was pretty darn cold in the last couple of days here. This is the past 2 days, this is the temperature average. Is it going to show me actually the average? Yeah, so here we go here. So you can see here that it's still been warmer than normal across the northern half of the UK. Southeast has been a little bit warmer than normal in the last couple of days. Below normal across Ireland and Northern Ireland, if you notice, Wales, southwest England here. But the core of the chill has been over Scandinavia, and really from the Netherlands through Germany, Poland, into the eastern side of the Alpine region here, up through the Baltic region. It has been very chilly indeed, and the reason why is because we've started to see a building of pressure linking Iceland with Russia. We've started to transport colder air underneath that area of high pressure. So we have seen the temperatures trim back quite significantly. Of course, we've seen the major flooding across the eastern side of the UK, particularly so across like Fife, the Lothians, Tayside, Aberdeenshire. Tremendous amounts of rainfall in recent days, and we're basically trapped just to the western side of that boundary between cold continental coming in from the east and Atlantic, relatively mild Atlantic air coming in from the west. but the boundary has been sitting to the east of the UK over the North Sea, and that's been basically shutting the door to some pretty cold air actually coming all the way to the British Isles here. We had a little bit of chill in the air over the last 24 hours or so. Clear skies, light winds tonight. It's going to be a frosty night here where I live in Eventon in Rossshire. But these are the current temperatures. So that you can see here after the sun going down in the last half an hour, so down to 2.8 at Loch Lascarnock, my nearest site at 10, 5.2. You can see 4.3 at Aviemore, down to 3 and 4 degrees, even into the north of England here, down to 5 degrees, as you can see here at Shawbury in Shropshire. So temperatures are coming down quite sharply this evening, and it's all thanks to the fact that we've got this type of setup in place at the moment here. Let's have a very, very quick look, and I'll show you exactly the situation that we've got here. So we're starting to filter in a little bit of chillier air coming in from the east here. Now, the temperatures on the continent this morning were pretty chilly actually. Notice here we've got some snow breaking out across the north of Poland here, parts of Scandinavia. We've got a bit of a break here. We've got that boundary separating the air masses, Atlantic versus the continental here, just to the east of the British Isles. That has been the troublemaker that brought all the heavy rain, but we're keeping our eyes on this system to the west. The Atlantic is going to continue to be the dominant player, folks. As we play through the next 24 hours or so, this is 9 o'clock tomorrow morning, we've got that area of low pressure approaching from the west. Notice here the frontal system with some pretty heavy rainfall. We're going to also see strong winds associated with it as well. And notice here that it's not managing to get all the way up into Scotland through the majority of tomorrow. So with a southeasterly wind, it's going to actually keep the temperatures quite subdued actually. It was a cool-ish day today. It's going to be another cool day tomorrow, but it's going to be a messy picture. Winds are going to increase, rain becoming fairly persistent across England, Wales, Northern Ireland as well. But it's all thanks to this kind of build-up of pressure over the northern half of Europe that is essentially going to stop the kind of north and east progress of this area of low pressure coming in. It's going to essentially kind of just kick in southeasterly winds and keeping it rather chilly indeed through the course of tomorrow here. But these were the minimum temperatures this morning, and we're already down below the values that we've seen this morning as the cooler air moves in. The coldest part of the British Isles was in fact the southeast corner. But if you look at the Benelux region here, so this is the Netherlands and Belgium, these were the overnight minimums last night. So it was down to close to -9 in some interior eastern portions of the Netherlands, as you can see here. And if you look at the broader picture over the continent from this morning here, some pretty cold air now coming in underneath that area of high pressure to the north. So this is a significant change compared to what we've had in recent times. And then looking at North America, still very, very cold conditions here, all the way down into the southern half of the country here. So Europe has turned colder. North America is definitely turned cold in recent times. And I do strongly believe that is down to the Mann-Julian oscillation here, rotating from 6 through 7 into 8. So it's rotating through the western portion of the Pacific Ocean. We're seeing the uptick in the tropics. What I would say to you is we need to watch now. It's going to start to change around, I think. We are going to start to see milder air coming into both North America and Europe as the Mann-Julian oscillation becomes less favourable as it continues to rotate towards West Africa or the West Hemisphere and Africa. We're going to lose this kind of chilly pattern because the polar vortex has got nothing to do with this chilly conditions at the moment here. That is strong, will remain strong. There is some hints towards the very end of some of these runs of something a little bit interesting coming off Siberia towards the pole, but it's completely unreliable at this time to kind of buy into anything to do with the polar vortex. The polar vortex, just basically almost forget about it for now with regards to the type of pattern that we've got. But the chilly conditions, North America, parts of Asia and indeed Europe, I think, is directly linked to the Magellan Oscillation and the late tropical activity over the Atlantic that has helped bring blocking back into the European and Northern Hemisphere pattern. This is the CFS V2 weeklies here. Week 1, you can see here the trough firmly in place, kind of west to east orientated, high pressure over the top, southward, deflection of the jet stream here, keeping areas of low pressure further south. But notice here, even week 2 and week 3, we're seeing the buildup of pressure across the north here, and this could be a feature actually, possibly even of the winter season overall. So we need to keep an eye on that. But the Arctic Oscillation is, believe it or not, actually slightly positive as of recording, and expect to drop into negative territory, and so is the North Atlantic Oscillation. And I think, again, like I kind of repeat myself, this is a direct response of what's going on in the tropical Pacific as opposed to the polar vortex here. So I just want to kind of make that clear to you, that is the driving force behind the pattern that we've got at the moment here. And looking finally at the GFS here, you can see that as we play through the next several days here, low pressure remains the dominant player. As you can see here, areas of low pressure coming in from the west, wind, rain, mountain snow, nothing unusual. It's, we're approaching winter. You would expect to see that being the case, but each frontal system that moves through is going to enhance the rainfall that we've already seen. A very, very wet November. It's been a very wet overall autumn, and it's going to be interesting to see what that may lead to further down the road here. So that's it for today. Thanks for watching. I do appreciate it. Please like, share with your friends and family, and hit that subscribe button if you haven't already done so. See you again hopefully tomorrow with more. Bye for now.